Turning to the Justice of the Supreme Court, Justice Antonin Scalia has spent 26 years as the conservative leader on the Supreme Court. In a rare interview on Tuesday, he talked about some of the court's most controversial rulings, including the decision in June upholding President Obama's Affordable Health Care Act. How about the ruling on Obamacare as we know it today? Was that hard?
It was hard in one respect. I think the hard question was the Commerce Clause question.
Right.
I don't think the tax question was a hard question. The Commerce Clause question, I think, was hard. I could have seen that coming out the other way. But to be in the majority on that, but lose on the tax question, I would never have guessed.
I mean, I was totally surprised by the tax aspect of it.
Tell me about it.
I assume that you were too. I mean, it came out of the left field from people, didn't it? Mm-hmm. Or right field, which was it?
Yeah. Well,
it was right field.
And it was a tax for one purpose, but not for another
exactly
purpose.
Right. Yeah.
Anyway.
But,
water over the dam. You gotta,
I know you always say that. I mean, you sort of said to people about Bush versus Gore. Get over it. Yeah. You know, yet it decided a presidential election. And
Bush some court was going to decide it. I mean, the only issue was whether the Florida Supreme Court.
The surprising thing to me is you blame Gore because he brought the case in Florida.
He brought it. He wanted judges to decide it. So judges decided it. What complaint could he possibly have?
You have no regret about that, do you?
About that case?
Yeah.
Oh, it was an easy case. It really was.
How was it so easy for you?
Look at it. You
stopped the Florida courts.
On the principle.
Did you stop the Florida courts in mid-step?
Yes, but on the principal question of whether the Florida courts violated the Constitution, the vote was 7-2. It wasn't even close. The only issue that was 5-4 was whether we should put an end to this nonsense. Yeah. And immediately decide the case or give them another couple of weeks while the whole world was laughing at us and we couldn't.
You mean because the country couldn't decide who was president?
That's right, and we couldn't have a transition.
Yeah, but see, that's what people think, that was a political decision. That's part of the reason they think it was a political decision, in part. Not so much that they think it was a political decision because the politics of the country made you say we've got to do this the way we did it in order to get this over with. The court decided that in the interest of the national interest, they got to get this over with.
The remedy for a case is always subject to the court's discretion and always depends upon the realities on the ground. Not the law, but what the remedy will be. Whether you tell them to do it immediately, give them another 2 weeks, that's not an issue of law, it's an issue of practicality.
Do you believe the United States is well served by the Supreme Court it has?
You know, there's an old line about the British the British stiff upper lift. You know, the line. It's the only wall we've got. You know, and I can say the same about the Supreme Court. It's the only Supreme Court we've got. You know. Yes, I think.
Yes.
Yes.
In other words, look at the.
Given
what?
Well, given the philosophies of the judges, I think they're honest men and women, and I think they decide the case fairly and honestly according to their lights.
But assess your own performance so far for me. I mean by that...
You asked me to grade it like
yes,
the president?
I'm going to grade.
What did the president say?
Yes.
I forget what he gave himself. I don't want to give myself any more than he did.
Oh, no, he said that to me. You know.
Did he say
yes,
to
yes,
you?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
He said that...
So you ask this question all the time?
I do. I go around asking everybody to grade yourself. But, I mean, I'm serious, though. Have you had the impact that you believe you would like to have? The answer has to be no.
Well, it depends on what you mean by the impact.
Well, the impact is you'd like everybody to see it your way.
Yeah, but that doesn't happen. Look,
you know, a delightful person. You know, I mean, this debate he believes in about what he called originalism or textualism is an ongoing debate. But he's a fascinating, interesting guy who loves the exchange of ideas. And his good friend on the court is Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Yeah, and what did he say about that, whether he's achieved what he wanted to. I mean, he wanted to be Chief Justice.
But he'd rather win this argument that he believes in, and he thinks he's made some progress on that, but it has a bit to go. For example, he pointed out that there are now 3 professors on the Harvard Law School, where he went to law school, who now believe the principles that he believes in terms of textualism.
And what about on Obamacare or health care? I mean, he didn't say whether he felt like Chief Justice John Roberts had surprised some of them on the court.
Well, I think the tax argument, as he suggested, was not an argument that he thought, what he would have preferred to see.
Yeah, exactly. All right.
But the Commerce Clause is important because the Commerce Clause opened itself up in terms of what Justice Roberts wrote to future questions of the same size.